man. Give me a break.
Wide open. The hell are you doing?
Kill him! Kill him! Kill him! Let's go! Woo! Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Donald Trump taking down Mr. McMahon! Oh my God! The hostile takeover of Donald Trump on Vince McMahon has happened at WrestleMania 23.
Let's go, Brandon.
My name is
No, I don't even want to know.
Dude, with it being like Christmas time and like New Year's Eve and like the bowl games and stuff, like anything within walking distance of the stadium was $800 a night.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Anything within 5 miles of downtown was still $400 or $500 a night. And I was like, damn.
Sounds like Miami.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, Nashville is Nashville's going to be bigger than Atlanta in 5 years.
I think it's already close.
I think it's close too. The difference is the interstate system.
Yeah, it's awful in
And
that.
but there's a lot of businesses that have headquarters in Atlanta, and that's the difference between Nashville and Atlanta. Like you got CNN, you got all kinds of shit, Coca-Cola.
Which I could see. I don't know how this works for businesses, but I could see some businesses start to move to Nashville because of no state income tax.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that matters for businesses or not.
Well, see, that's kind of what put Chattanooga
For their employees, it does, yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, obviously for employees, but I was talking about from like the actual business side.
I know from some people that moved out there recently, it is insane what it costs to buy a house. It's just crazy. Yeah. And I know it's like that everywhere, but this is like on top of that, it's just crazy.
The guy who worked with us, he don't work with us anymore. He got hired by us, and he's like, I'm gonna move to Nashville. That's where I'm gonna work at. And he bought a house. In his house, he bought. It's like 15 minutes from downtown, but he put an offer in. It was $110,000 over asking. That was how he won it.
Jeez, sounds like
so basically, you know, another $300 on your house payment on a 15-year note, 30-year note.
Speaking of Nashville, the Titans suck.
Yeah.
They're awful.
They're bad.
Yeah, I was listening to the game. I was watching the first half at my parents', and I was listening to the game coming home, and Mike Heath said, I can't remember the guy's name. That's his color commentator. They call him Coach. He's like, Coach, the wheels are falling off for the Titans. And it's been bad. I mean, they've lost 3 in a row. They're staring at 4 in a row this week because they've got, oh gosh, it's slipping my mind who they play this week. But yeah, it's been bad. I don't know what's going on out there. Fired their GM. Their offensive line stinks. They have no receivers. It's a wonder they're 7-6 right now.
They got the Chargers.
Yeah,
then they play Dallas, which is going to be a tough game too.
Yeah, I mean they could easily lose 4 or 5 in a row here, and they couldn't even beat the Jaguars on Sunday.
That was rough.
Well, here's my question: Derrick Henry gets damn near 100 yards in the first quarter, and then he touches the ball like 4 times for the rest of the game after that, or something.
They got to get rid. Todd Downing's awful. They got to get rid of him.
Well, they got to the point where they had to throw the ball. They couldn't because they were down so much.
No, but hell, I mean, if he's the best player on the field, I mean, you got to figure out ways to get it in his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had over 100 yards in the first half. So he and I know they were behind, but they go away from him. And I don't know. I don't like Todd Downing.
Right.
But the Titans, yeah, they're in rough shape right now. They 7-6. I think they can still win the division because their division's so bad. The Colts are terrible. Jaguars are playing better, but they're still not great. And the Texans are just god awful. But the Titans, I mean, it's bad. A guy I know who used to be my intern listens to the show. Has season tickets. Bowling, you remember him? We tailgated with him before the Music City Bowl last year. Tyler, he's got season tickets to the Titans, and he said he left at halftime last week. It was awful. It was just, it's bad. I mean, I turned it off in the fourth quarter. I never turn games off early. They're in rough shape. So the Cowboys be looking their chops coming into Nashville in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Boys are playing well. I don't think they can catch the Eagles, but
I was about to say the only bad thing is we could go 14-3, 13-4, and have to play in Tampa first round.
Yeah, against a maybe 500 or below 500 Bucks team.
Oh, they will be under 500. They're probably gonna be like 7-10.
That's crazy. I mean, you could legitimately have two division winners in the NFL, the Titans and the Bucks, below 500 when they get into the playoffs.
You know, the Cowboys did that for like 3 years in a row with, the 8-8 season. Yeah. They were 500, but still.
I mean, they did win their division. That stinks, though. They get to host a game, and somebody that's probably better than them has to travel, but that's just the setup. I mean, it happens in fantasy football, too. I mean, you've got a team winning the division at 7-7, and this team over here is second at like 10-4. I happened to me one year in another fantasy league, not the HMD league that I play in with you, Big Montana, but another league I play in with the Fountain City guys, and I was literally 11-2. The guy in my division that finished in front of me was 12-1, and the team that won the division next to us was, I believe, 8-5. And I just dismantled him. But I was the 3 seed, and that guy was the 2 seed.
Yeah.
So the 2 seed won. I ended up just decimating him in the semifinals. Ended up winning the league that year. But
Are we recording?
Oh yeah.
Let's go. I just thought we sit here BS.
No.
I didn't know we were going. I didn't hear no welcome to YY8 podcast.
Folks, we're live, and it looks like we've lost Harbin. So if you're watching this, Harbin is vanished for some reason.
I'm glad I wasn't picking my nose or anything.
Yeah. In the words of Bob Uecker on Major League, nobody's listening anyways.
They're all listening.
God, great. My favorite scene of that movie, when he says, we got one GD hit, and his color commentator says, you can't say GD on the air. And he said, who cares? Nobody's listening anyways. So we got to figure out, while we're doing this, we'll figure out what in the world's going on with Harbin. But a lot of Vols news. I know we started out talking about the Titans, as it looks like Harbin is coming back in. There he is.
What in the world just happened?
I don't know. I thought Thanos snapped his finger and you vanished on us.
Oh, I did there for a minute. I don't know what happened. But I didn't know he was recording either.
That's why I sent you all a text saying we were recording.
Oh.
Folks, we're live.
We're here.
We're live. No, we were having a great discussion about the Titans and Nashville and how expensive it is. I was like, well, let's just put this into the show this week.
That's what makes us unique, because we just talk on this podcast like we'd talk if we weren't recording. So we're authentic. This is raw and uncut.
Right.
So if this is your first time on the show, this is the Section YY8 podcast. Big Montana and Harb are here with us tonight. No idea where Day Vol and Big Gav are. Gav's probably asleep in his recliner with his cat on his belly.
Old man Gav.
Old man Gav. Tennessee basketball, huge win last Sunday against Maryland in Brooklyn. Harbin is frozen again for those listening, so I don't know if he can hear this or not. Do they not have internet in Jeff City?
More.
Well, we hear him. He sounds like a robot. Well, while he's working on that, Tennessee basketball picked up a win this past weekend in Brooklyn at I don't know what they call that event. It was at the Barclays Center, home of the I call them the New Jersey Nets, but the Brooklyn Nets. Maryland, number 13 in the country. It's the Hall of Fame Invitational. Tennessee wins 56-53. This was after being up 17. I believe they're up 34-17 at the half. Maryland made some pretty good adjustments, I thought. Tennessee still played pretty good defense in the second half. They just could not score the basketball. And there may be a reason for that. I'll try to look this up while we're talking about it, but did you all watch the game Sunday? And if you did, what was your thoughts? Just my opinion, I think it was a nice win for Tennessee, even though they struggled in the second half. But I mean, Maryland's 13th in the country. I know they've dropped this week, I think, to 19th or 20th. But that's one of those games, like I said, on the Hoops Southbound podcast I was on earlier this week. That's one of those games you'll look back on, I hope, later in the season and say, oh, Tennessee picked up a win over Maryland. Oh, they picked up a win over Kansas. Another chance this Saturday, which we'll talk about Arizona in a minute. But I thought it was a nice win for Tennessee, even though they struggled. They got to shoot the ball better. That's for sure. But did you all watch the game? And if you did, what was your thoughts?
I didn't watch it. I finished
Sad.
watching. I'm sorry. I finished watching I actually forgot about it, to be honest with you. I finished watching the Cowboys game, and then I went Christmas shopping. So I had to play Santa for a little bit, and I was just scrolling Twitter and saw that they won, and I was like, well, good. So I didn't miss anything, it don't sound like. But, yeah, that's like the one thing that worries me about the longevity of this team is we rely so much about the open jumper or the three-pointer, and, we seems like we can't really work the paint like we need to. And, one night, we're on fire, and the next night, we're having to grind one out. But,
in their defense, they only shot 21 3-point. I know that sounds like a lot.
Right.
They shot 66 field goals attempts.
But, I said 3-pointers, but, I mean,
yeah.
We really don't have that one guy right now that you throw it to get a bucket. Somebody goes on a 6-0 run, 7-0 run, and I think we do have some guys that can step up into that role. But I wish we had just a dominant big man down low. Just feed him the ball, let him throw his ass around, turn around, get a layup, get fouled. I long for that with UT basketball. I think that's one. We said for years we don't have a true point guard. Then we got one, and then we started winning. Well, I've always said we really need a really big, dominant big man, and I think that is a missing key that Barnes needs to figure out. And it is what it is. We'll see what happens.
I think he's got, and Harbin can probably attest to this. I think he's got some guys that can be that, but Jonas Adu has improved, I think, since last year.
Oh, sure.
Awaka came. He had to play Sunday because Adu was out with the flu-like symptoms. So was Triple J. They haven't had their real lineup out there.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. They haven't really had their best player out there yet. So
I mean, Vescovi's banged up already. Triple J's had a knee. Now he's sick. I think he'll be back for the game Saturday. But I think they got some guys down low that can contribute. I like Adu, however you say it. I really like that guy. I think he can be a player moving forward. Right now, maybe not, but moving forward, I think he can. Harb, what do you think about the game? I know you watched it Sunday.
First of all, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Good. All right. Apparently, we're having some outages over here in the Kodak Straw Plains area.
Welcome to Biden's America. We can't even keep the power on.
God almighty. Yep. I watched every single second of that ball game in Brett Stanton's garage.
Yes.
Proud listener of the show.
He is. I saw you two at Aubrey's the other night, and he enjoys the show. Shout out, Brett.
I watched the whole thing. First half, It was obviously a tale of two halves. First half, thought we looked really good. Thought we looked like a competent top 10 team. Defense is always going to be there, it seems like. I'm still like, I want to gouge my eyes out watching this offense sometimes, though. I mean, it's like Maryland probably plays pretty good defense. And I think once they kind of shut us down for about a minute or two, they got hot a little bit and started jumping around on us a little bit. But good God, we cannot go on 5-6 minute stretches with no field goals. I mean, you're not going to beat anybody worth a damn doing that. Like,
No.
And I'm not saying Maryland's bad. I think Maryland's actually a pretty good ball team, but they shot the ball like shit against us. And
they were total for the game. Maryland was 2 of 24 from 3-point range, 2 of 16 in the first half, 0 of 8 in the second half, 8%.
If they would have just hit one of those threes on that run in the middle of the second half, I think they opened the floodgates. Personally, but I don't want to be too negative because we beat the number 13. Were they number 13?
Yeah,
we beat the number 13 team in the country on a neutral site. Big win. Here's one thing that I've noticed that drives me up a wall. Rick Barnes is very successful, had a very long tenure. How can you be so bad at inbounds plays when you've been around this long? We have that one inbounds play that works where we throw it to Conway cutting down the lane. He either gets an alley or he gets bounce pass. It's wide open layup. They want this.
I think we're losing Harbin. More outages in Kodak, Straw Plains.
What Harbin's trying to say is we have one inbounds play that we run. We don't run it that great.
I know what he's talking about. We'll fill in until he gets back. He's talking about the inbounds play. I don't know if anybody remembers, but our fellow alumni from Carter, Jordan Bowden, tomahawk dunk one at Vandy a couple years ago on this inbounds play. It does work quite a bit. I've always thought Tennessee under Bruce Pearl was really good at inbounds plays. They got cheap buckets off of it. Yeah. I think they've been pretty good under Barnes for the most part. I'd have to go back and I've not really paid attention to the inbounds plays a whole lot. I mean, there's not a whole lot scored off of inbounds plays, but that is a way to get cheap points. So
something that really bothered me was our free throw percentage. Did I dream that, or did we shoot 50% from the line?
We were 11 of 20 from the free throw line, which is not good. No. Sorry, we were 11 of 21 from the free throw line. Maryland was 17 of 22. Yeah, they got to shoot the ball.
That is the one thing that drives me nuts. Now, if you're 7 foot tall, I get it. Like, I understand, like, you're not going to be the best shooter. But, man, this is what they do. They go to class, they eat, and they play basketball. Like, if you can't shoot 80% from the line, I don't know. It's just
I was talking about this with some others on Sunday during the game. I gave him a pass in the first half on that because the majority of the free throws that were shot were taken by our post players.
Yeah.
Most of the time they don't shoot the ball well. Right. But in the second half, you had Tyreek Key missing free throws. Let's see. He was 3 of 6 at the line. That's unacceptable. You had Vescovi, who was 2 of 3 at the line, but the one he missed was the front end of a 1-and-1 late in the game. That's like a turnover in my book. They don't rule it that officially, but you had Phillips 4-4, but I mean they were 11 of 21 as a team from the free throw line. Just Meshack 0 of 3, Awaka 1 of 2, Ziegler 0 for 1, Kamwa 1 of 2, Key 3 of 6. So I mean just poor free throw shooting. They could have actually probably buried Maryland earlier in the game if they would have shot the ball better at the foul line. But you're right. That does. They got
that's one thing. Like, I know Zakai is a short dude, but man, I feel like he's just got the ability to drive to the basket. I think he needs to do that more often. Just get fouled. I mean, I think that could be a major part of his game. I mean, yeah, he's going to get his shit thrown across the gym a couple of times, but also like these guys aren't talented enough to not bat. You know what I mean? They're going to rip his head off and just go in there when you need a bucket and then go to the line, hit two, you know, get us out of a slump. So that's another thing that I wish that we kind of could do better.
Yeah, I thought Tennessee did good in the first half of that. I think they made an effort to get the ball down low and kind of work that inside out game. I think Maryland kind of took it away from them in the second half, but they get bogged down on the perimeter quite a bit. A lot of dribbling, a lot of perimeter passing, and they have to settle for shots late in the shot clock. That happened last year with this team. Looks like we got Harbin back. You want to finish your thoughts?
Yeah. The inbound play I was referring to, by the way, I'm on my hotspot because evidently me and the boys can't afford good internet.
Sad.
Anyway, yeah, very sad. Biden's America.
Sad and unfair.
Anywho, about 25 seconds left first half. I guess there was about 16 seconds left on shot clock. Vescovi started in the corner. Somebody set a screen for him. He got the ball on the wing. He drives right. There's a pick. He drives left, and he throws up a fadeaway three.
Yeah.
Air ball. That is at least the third time we've ran that play with that same exact outcome this season.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
is that the best we got coming out of a full timeout?
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look. I don't know if Maryland took something away from him. Was the shot clock running out? I can't remember.
I don't think so. I think we had like 16 or 17 seconds to work with, and he threw that up with at least probably 8 or 9 seconds left on the shot clock.
Yeah, you're right. That one was. I don't know if you heard me or not when you were going in and out there. I referred to the play I think you're referring to that we run all the time is the one Bowden dunked on Vandy a few years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we run that with Tomlin.
Yeah, and they get it. They get it. They sneak in and get it every now and then. You'd think teams would catch on to that by now, but I guess they catch them napping and run it. But there's a handful of times somebody's gotten some tomahawk dunks off of that.
Yeah. Kama had one. What was that against Alcorn State or McNeese State or one of those games? I think. Yeah. God, that was tough.
The best out of all of them was Jordan Bowden at Vanderbilt in 2019. I mean, that was incredible.
That's an absolute hammer.
I remember watching that in my living room, and I about jumped up on my coffee table. I jumped so high when he tomahawked that one. That was fantastic.
Was that when we were number one and we survived a scare?
Yeah, we had to come from behind. That was the game Grant Williams was like 25 of 25 at the free throw line or whatever. Yeah. It was some ungodly amount of free throws.
Yeah, I remember I watched that on my phone in a study room in the Carson Newman Library.
So also while your internet went out, on your Obama internet or your Biden internet.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you can only work with what you got. We were talking about Tennessee's poor free throw shooting, and I tweeted this yesterday. Did you see this article on Barstool Sports where someone did research and found that the Spalding TF 1000 basketball is ruining college basketball games? And that was the ball that Tennessee Maryland used Sunday. It was also the ball that Tennessee and Texas Tech used in that game at Madison Square Garden last year when, let's see, both teams went 19 of 71. Tennessee was 19 of 71 from the field in a loss to Texas Tech using that basketball. I believe, let's see, they put up some stats here. Game in which this person can confirm that the basketball was used. 13 games, 601 jump shots, 29.8 field goal percentage on all jumpers, 27.5% from three-point range. All other regular season games, 34.7% field goal percentage on jumpers, 33.3% three-point. This is regular season tournament, sorry. Regular season games without the TF 1000, 34.3 field goal percentage, 33.5 three-point percentage. The 2 games last year in New York between Tennessee and Texas Tech and Syracuse and Villanova, 3 of those teams were 3 seeds or higher. I believe Tennessee, Texas Tech, Villanova were all 3 or higher. They combined to shoot 23.9% in those 2 games. Actually, shot quality, who I follow, I look at that a lot, put that Tennessee shot quality score was 83, which is really good. And Maryland's was 72, which is pretty good. That the shots they were taking were actually good shots. They just didn't go in. So this person's using all that data to say this basketball sucks. I didn't know if y'all had seen that or not.
I did see that, and I'm cheating a little bit because I read the comments, but a lot of the comments are absolutely true. If you have shot basketball even just once in your life, you know that the Evolution is the best basketball in the world.
I've got some here in the studio right now. They're fantastic.
Yeah, and I don't know why you would ever use anything but that.
I'm sure Spalding paid for that ball to be there.
And here's another small theory to that. What you was talking about like last year in that Madison Square Garden thing and whatnot. A lot of college teams tend to shoot poorly in NBA arenas just because they're not used to the size and the depth perception and all that. And a lot of those big time tournaments are early in the season, and you're not going to shoot it as good at the beginning of the season as you are in February and March most of the time. So that might have a small bit to do with it too, but that was interesting about that basketball though.
I could see some teams that bothering, but teams like Tennessee and Kentucky pretty much play in a pro arena anyway. So that's not really an excuse for them, but like Villanova plays in a small arena. Texas Tech doesn't play in a huge arena, but it's not tiny. I mean, it's not Cameron Indoor Stadium, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of factors. I thought during that game last year, somebody left the freaking door open because some of those shots weren't even close to hitting the rim on both sides. I mean, I know Tennessee lost and we were complaining about it, but Texas Tech shot just as poorly that day. It was awful. And this game last Sunday wasn't a whole lot better.
No.
So I don't know. It's something to think about. If I'm a coach, I'm asking what basketball we're using. I don't know. I wish Day was here. He and I used to talk about this when I was athletics coordinator in Morristown. We used the Spalding basketball, and Day Vol absolutely hated it. And I didn't know a whole lot about him back then. So I started doing some research, and I fell in love with the Evolution. I've used it ever since. He turned me on to it. But I don't know much about the Spalding, but I just know I don't know anybody that likes it. So if I'm a coach, I'm going into a game from here on out, especially Rick Barnes, like, what basketball are we using? I know Tennessee uses the Nike ball, obviously because they're a Nike school, but right. that Evolution's hard to beat.
Yeah. Didn't the NBA make a switch a few years ago? We're getting a little off topic here.
Yeah, but I don't know. I know Carter High School proudly uses the Evolution, the new one, the really like light tan ball that they used in the NCAA tournament last year. They had a whole rack of them the other night at the game I was working.
Heard that.
And by the way, the Carter cheerleading, I got a rant on Carter cheerleading just a minute. Halftime show, great halftime show. Shout out to the girls. They're working their butts off. The song they do their routine to, Florida Gators fight song. I have disowned their coach, who I don't know if she's listening or not, but I'm very disappointed. Sad and unfair, Hunter Grubb.
That's disgusting.
Speaking of the Grubbs, huge shout out to the most alpha male that I know, Chad Grubb, in his matching pajamas that he has with his wife and their dog. Some men are out here swinging sledgehammers, coming in, washing their hands with lava soap, leaving their work boots at the door. My man Grubb is just out here wearing some buffalo print flannels to bed, just being a man.
He said he'll wear pajamas.
Hey, don't knock a man for being cozy.
Hey, he said if they're comfortable, he'll wear them. He just ain't taking a picture in them.
That's not what I heard. I heard he's going to take several pictures.
We'll see.
Yeah.
If you get a Christmas card from the Grubs, when you open it, I'm going to be anticipating a cozy Christmas PJ picture.
Hey, we'll be seeing a post on the gram on Christmas Eve. I guarantee it.
Also, listener of the show, Jake Minot, was in the balcony there at Carter when that was going on, and I look up and he's up there like, Nease, what is this? Doing the gator chomp. So I had to explain to him. Hunter had no, in her defense, she doesn't know the Florida Gators fight song. This was given to her by a consultant. But I was floored when I hit play on this song the first time and that played. I about fell over out of my chair. Unacceptable. Sad.
Can't believe it.
Can't believe it.
It's not the same Carter High School that I graduated from.
And we got a lot of Gator haters in that school, and they're not happy. Hunter has done a good job, but I mean, Hunter works hard on that stuff. I'm just giving her a hard time, but I hate that song. I don't want to hear it. I'm gonna sit over there with my ears covered and kick and moan the whole time that song's on. Sickening. If there's vomit all over the scores table at half court, it's from me having to listen to the Gators fight song. Because I've had to listen to that crap for years when they used to rout us. They'd play it after every touchdown. It makes me sick.
Those days are done, Nace.
So Tennessee's got Arizona this weekend. Wildcats late Saturday night. This is Pac-12 after dark. That's what I'm talking about.
Let's go.
I think 10:30 Eastern time. So it's going to be a late night for us Vol fans. 7:30 Pacific time. Top 10 matchup, I think. Wait for it. Tennessee 6, Arizona's 9. 69.
Nice.
I'm looking at the net rankings. Arizona's 10, Tennessee is 4. Which the SEC is loaded, by the way. Alabama's at 5, Mississippi State's at 6, Tennessee's at 4, like I just said. You scroll down just a little bit. Arkansas's 23 now. Kentucky's 29. And this is early. This doesn't really matter right now because it factors in quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, quad 4 wins. So they don't have a lot of data to go off of, but they just released it this week. So, but I mean, Tennessee is 2-1 in quad 1 games. Believe their only loss would be to Colorado, who is 46. So that it's 1 through 50 is quad 1. So they've got wins over number 7 Kansas and number 17 Maryland in the top 50, and then a loss to Colorado, obviously. But another quad 1 opportunity coming up this weekend for Tennessee. So this is a big weekend for college basketball, Harb. What do you think about Tennessee versus Arizona?
It's big time. I really like how we're getting some big time matchups, which we've gotten kind of used to this over the last few years. But it's kind of a in a grand scope of things, like kind of a generally a new concept for Tennessee basketball almost, or at least since Pearl left. Because we're getting Kansas, we got Maryland, we got Arizona, and sometime in January we got Texas, SEC, Big 12. I'm looking forward to it. I kind of want to see how we will play cross country. What will actually be 10:30 for what their bodies are used to, but I guess it'll be, what will that be, 7:30, 8:30, whatever they are.
I think it's 7:30. I think they're Pacific time, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're true, but I think Arizona's weird with time zones. Anyhow,
they are.
I don't know a whole lot about Arizona this year. I did go to the game last year in Thompson-Boling, and that game was an absolute heater.
They're actually, let me interrupt you there. They're mountain time, so it would be 8:30.
8:30.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I have no idea what the line is. But honestly, I think if you set a line for a marquee matchup in middle of December, you're just kind of guessing anyway. they're going to be like Arizona every year. They're going to be big. They're going to be physical. I have watched them play one time. They do have some twin tower top players in the post. I know they got a guy that's like 7'2" or something like that. And they still got that white boy that can shoot the lights out. I forgot his name.
Creasa.
Yeah, that dude's a damn
killer.
He
actually they were playing was it Grand Canyon or somebody like that? It was last night it was last night on Tuesday night. He left the game and came back out in street clothes. So I don't know what his status is. They got two guys. I talked about this on that Hoops Southbound podcast. And I don't know how to say Balo. Didn't he transfer from Oregon or something?
Is he one of the big guys?
He's one of the big guys. And then this other guy is from Lithuania. I can't pronounce his name. Tabelis. I don't know. He's averaging 20.2 a game.
I got the – go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say the Balo guy's averaging 18.1 and 9 rebounds. He's averaging almost a double-double. So, yeah, that's going to be a huge challenge for Tennessee is those two guys.
I've got the team comparison right now. Points scored, Arizona 92, which is ranked first in the country. Tennessee 74, which is ranked 154th. And here's the other one, field goal percentage 54.7%. That's ranked first in the country for how about say Alabama. For Arizona and Tennessee is 40.1%, which is 199th. So this Arizona team scores some points and they're accurate, which might give us some trouble. As far as total rebounds, we're pretty much even. In assists, they're ranked first with 21.5 per game. So they've got some pretty stud stats here as far as the team comparison goes, which, play the game for a reason. So we're going to find out.
Let me throw this one at you real quick. Arizona is ranked number 1, according to Ken Palm, on adjusted offense, number 1 in the nation. Tennessee adjusted defense ranked number 1 in the nation. So you got the best defensive team in the country and the best offensive team in the country right now. I actually read a stat today that according to Ken Palm, Tennessee is on pace to have the best defensive team ever in the Ken Palm era. I'm not saying all-time college basketball, but I think Ken Palm started in 2001. Tennessee is on pace right now to be the best defensive team in that era.
I think we're going to find out a lot on Saturday because I think traditionally, or I guess just going back to last year is what I mean, we can defend one really good post player, and we do that really well. Like when we play Kentucky, we shut down Tshiebwe. But they have two really good ones, and it'll be interesting because you can't double one, or you can't double one because you can either dump it to the other block or kick it out because Arizona's got shooters too. So we're gonna have to see how Kamla, Euros. I hope we see a lot of Awaka. Personally, that's a little bit of a side note. I really like that guy.
He played well Sunday, I thought.
Yeah,
good minutes.
Yeah, he played very well. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be a good early test for our bigs, how we can defend one-on-one against some guys that are bigger than us and also have a very good skill set. So, but we've got to hit some shots and score. I mean, that's just bottom line because we're definitely not going to get inside on them. Yeah, we can't get inside on smaller teams, really.
Yeah, Barnes said that in his presser a couple days ago. He's like, well, he's got to shoot the ball better. I mean, it's just – and there's no, like, play you can run or anything. He's got to shoot better. They've not shot particularly well this season. They have in spurts, but not consistently. So
it'll come around. We have too many good shooters on the team to not shoot well all the time.
This is how they played last year, though. I mean, this is basically the same team as last year. You just took Chandler off the team.
Right.
I don't count Huntley Hatfield. Also, something else to keep in mind, this is the first true road game of the season for Tennessee. They played in the Bahamas, and they played I know the game Sunday was there's a lot more Maryland fans there than Tennessee, but it was a neutral site game. This is a true road game, and it's one of the tougher places to play in the country. So that's going to be a big test for Tennessee. It's a veteran team, so I don't think it'll bother them, but it is something to keep your eyes on. It's the first true road game of the season for them.
Correct.
And yes, statistically, Vols Hoops defense is en route to being the best in the Ken Palm era, 2001 to present, on the pace they're on. Now, will that happen? It's hard to tell, but a lot of basketball to be played. But
that's pretty crazy, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's
like,
22
that's
years of
yeah.
That's 22 years of statistics, and Ken Palm's got Tennessee ranked third overall in their overall ratings. They've got Arizona at 11. Again, there's not a lot of data going into this season, but, offensively, Arizona is really good. Defensively, Tennessee's really good. You might say both teams on both sides of the ball are elite.
How is Arizona's defense? Do you have that information handily?
They are 64th.
Okay.
And this is Ken Palm. Us offensively, we are adjusted offense 47th.
Okay.
So, yeah. Now, pace of play, let's see, adjusted tempo, Tennessee's 175. Arizona's 4. So that means that Tennessee doesn't push the basketball, which I've always said. I said this last year a lot. I don't know why Tennessee doesn't run more than they do, because they get so bogged down offensively. I wish they would push the tempo a little bit more. I mean, they do. They're not walking it up the floor like Konzo did, and it take them 8-9 seconds to get across the line. But the North Carolina way of doing things, where they run the secondary break, they kind of push the tempo a little bit. I'm not saying run system like Boydstone did at Carter with Bowden and all them a few years ago, but I just wish they'd push it a little bit more, because they get bogged down so much.
Yeah. But at the same time, I want to get your opinion, Nease, because you also watched the game. What was your opinion on our press break when Maryland started to press us? I don't know, probably 7 or 8 minutes in the second half.
I said this on that podcast that they had me on, that Hoops South Bend. I thought it bothered Tennessee. I mean, they didn't turn the ball over a whole lot, but I thought it got Tennessee. It got us out of rhythm. I think that was part of our problem offensively. It sped us up, and it caused, well, not chaos, but I think it bothered Tennessee, and it sped them up. It got them out, because they were in a pretty good rhythm, and I know they weren't shooting the ball well, but I thought offensively they were still pretty good in the first half. They were not in the second half, and I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I think we relied a little bit too much on Ziegler in the press break. We didn't actually try to break it. We just kind of hoped he'd make a move and outrun somebody most of the time. And he did a couple times. And he got a couple wide open layups, and they were kind of like stop the bleeding type deals. But yeah, I mean,
I know Cruz texted me when this happened. He said, "Oh, Barnes is going to get it now," but he called that. I thought he called it before the pass was made for the layup. I really couldn't tell on video. And I don't even know that it would have cost him. I don't know if it would have cost him points, because it was hard to tell, because Key missed the layup, but was it because he half-assed it after he heard the whistle or what? I don't know, but Barnes is going to get a little criticism, right? Because he doesn't call timeouts a lot. He lets his team play through, and he'll tell you that. And he did on Saturday. They went on like a 10-2, 12-2 run, Maryland did, and he didn't once call a timeout, and they played through it, which I wish he would. You and I and Brett talked about this. I felt like, 6-0, 8-0 run, it was fine, but it became apparent they weren't going to play themselves out of that run. And then he called a timeout when we had a one-on-one layup opportunity, and I was like, oh, crap, he's going to get it for that one. So the Barnes haters are going to have a field day with that one, but it was kind of unfortunate, to be honest. I know why he called it, because he was worried that they were about to get a 10-second call, but
right, yeah, and it was probably like, I mean, I'm not in the heat of the moment anymore. It was probably the right call to call it, but I think he called it a couple seconds too late.
Yeah,
like no matter no matter what, like depending on when he called it, when he didn't, we 100% already had the ball across half court when he called it.
Yeah, looking back, he did.
But I don't know. Everybody's got their opinions on timeouts, but when another team's making a run, I think it's better to call 1-2 early as opposed to too late. You know, like if they make a couple shots in a row and you turn it over, call them timeout, take 30. Hey, calm down, regroup.
A 6-0 run's one thing, but a 12-0 run's another thing too.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 6-0. I was okay. And then they got it to 8-0. I was like, we might need to call a TO here. And then it went to 10-0, and I'm like, all right, Rick, let's put an end to this. And we scored. So it was a 10-2 run. Well, they went down and scored. It was a 12-2 run. I'm like, all right, let's put an end to this. He never did.
No.
I think Maryland actually put it into it on their own because both teams went empty a couple of possessions. And Maryland, I know why they did it. They wanted a free timeout. They fouled Tennessee and just walked to the bench because it was a media timeout. They were gassed. So, they actually ended it for him. But, yeah, I thought Rick should have called a TO there.
Which, I mean, he's always been like that. So, I mean, I'll get a little irritated in the moment, but I'm not going to stomp my feet at it because that's just what he does, and he's never going to change it. He believes in his guys. He's going to let them play through it. But there's some times where it's like, God almighty, bud. Like, you got to do something here.
No, you're right. That is one knock I have on him is he lets it run a little bit too long, but he's been pretty successful, so I'll defer to him on that one. I wouldn't personally do that.
Respect that. He's got a lot of trust in his players. That's the way that you kind of got to look at it, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, it's a good learning tool for. I mean, early in the season too. I mean, he's making them play through that. So, actually, not a bad idea to help yourself down the road. So, I don't know. What do y'all think? Can Tennessee win this game Saturday night?
Yeah, we can.
Tennessee can beat anybody in the country.
Will they? I guess is a better question.
See,
I personally don't think they will, just because it's their first road test. It's going to be against Arizona. I think they contend, but I think Arizona beats them by 10 points.
If we do win the ball game, we shoot well.
Right.
It's like we were saying earlier. Like I'm excited to see how we handle this moment because it's first true road game and it's also all the way across the country. So, and we also have like a group of veterans, so it shouldn't affect us too much. But can we go out there and get beat by 20? Absolutely. Could we go out there and win by 9? Yeah, 100%. Anything in between there would not shock me whatsoever.
They asked me on that podcast if this was a need to win or a must win game. I told them no, because it's so early in the season. This is more of a resume game. Tennessee can lose this game and it doesn't matter, to be honest. They could win this game and it does. It was like, oh, that's Tennessee's legit, guys. They've beat Arizona, Kansas, and Maryland to start the season. We're not even in conference play yet. But if they lose it, it's like, they lost to a really good basketball team. So I don't think it's a must win or a need to win. No. I don't have a feel on this game. I don't know what to think about it. I've not seen Arizona play this year. I have not got to watch. I've seen highlights. So I don't know. I just know they're really good offensively. They're not very good defensively. Tennessee's complete opposite of that. ESPN's matchup predictor has Arizona 54.6% chance to win, Tennessee 45. I don't see a line yet. I haven't seen that. So I don't know. I think Harb's right. Tennessee wins this game if they shoot really well. If they go out there and they struggle out of the gate, it's going to be an uphill climb for them. If they struggle shooting the basketball, the good thing about it is defense travels. And I think they're always going to play, with the exception of that Colorado game earlier this year where they did not play well defensively, but I think a lot of that was their awful offensive output that day. But I think Tennessee's defense can keep them in the game, but can they shoot the ball? They're going to rebound. They're going to play defense. can they shoot the basketball well enough to stay with Arizona? That's a big question.
Well, another thing is it'll be interesting to see how we rebound against both of those two big guys. You know, I mean, we're gonna have to get in there and get physical for once. I mean, not for once. I mean, we play physical, but you know what I mean. Like we're gonna have to get in there and get dirty. So we'll see.
I'm looking this up. I'm trying to find out who the announcers are for the game. I'm pray it's Bill Walton.
You pray it's Bill Walton or not?
I do pray that it's Bill Walton, just so we can hear some of the idiotic, moronic things he might say.
I can't do it, man. I forget when it was, but I turned on a pack 10, 12, 14, whatever it is after dark the other night. He was doing it, and it's too much, man.
Oh, the best one he was calling.
He makes Mike Leach look insane.
He was calling a game. I forgot who they was playing, but it was a UConn game, and it was in one of those. It was in that Nike tournament, the Phil Knight tournament.
Yes.
Whoever UConn was playing, they hadn't shot a three in the first 12 minutes of the game, but they was up 6. Just for story's sake, we'll say it was Arkansas. Arkansas hadn't shot a three for the first 12 minutes. And the other guy that was doing it with Bill Walton, I can't remember who it was, they said, wow, Arkansas hadn't shot a three yet in this game. And Bill Walton says, so what? They're winning the game. And the guy says, no, they're not. And Bill goes, yes, they are. And he goes, Bill, they're down 6.
Dude, he
had zero idea of what was going on.
Yeah, he gets like totally lost. I don't know what he's like. It's probably all the
psychedelics.
He's high. Yeah.
All the shrooms he did back in the day, or probably is still doing.
Great Celtic, by the way.
Oh yeah. Great.
He's a deadhead. What do you expect?
He was one of the best college basketball players of all time. It didn't translate to the pros, but he was hurt a lot too. So
he was a great Celtic. I mean, I went back and watched all those games, and he was great.
I'm trying to find. I can't find. I hope it is him. If I find it, I'll tweet it. So be on the lookout for that. But I can't find I'm looking everywhere. They usually put that stuff out. So
yeah.
It is on ESPN2 Saturday night, 10:30. So Pac-12 SEC After Dark should be a good one. Hopefully, good early season test for the Vols before they head into the Christmas break and get ready for conference play, which will have another big test in conference play outside of the SEC with Texas, who currently does not have a head coach because he allegedly choked his wife or his fiance or something.
Ooh, I didn't know that part. I just saw where it said family member.
Would you rather it be his kids?
No. Well, when I read that, wishful thinking. Obviously, you think of like brother or
right. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know how true that is.
I was thinking like cookout. They got in an argument, whatever.
Right.
I don't know how true that is because
that ain't
this
good.
week really showed how ridiculous social media has gotten. Mike Leach died like 4 times.
Yeah.
I know he passed away Monday night, but if you listen to people's tweet, he was dead on Saturday. Which he may have been. They just
hold that thought. Speaking of choking, I did somehow pull out a podium spot for the office pool gambling.
He did.
I hung on. The Fighting Army Knights, is that their mascot?
The Black Knights.
The Black Knights.
The Black Knights. They pulled one out for me, and I got bronze. So I didn't.
That's a little payday.
It's a little payday. Hey, a little payday. So Toys for Tots, be on the lookout for a shipment of some Uno cards. We're gonna hook you up. So I didn't choke it all the way, just a little bit. Just a silver.
You gonna send anything to Harlan County?
We already did. We went to Harlan County this past week on Thursday, and we had a very good trip. Nathan's dad headed it up, and we Nease and I went up there, and we got the job done. We gave those kids Christmas and I about said something else, but anyway, it's great. They're all happy. So
good. Glad us mascot boys, or I ain't gonna take credit for it whatsoever, but it's good to see some mascot boys.
We're just giving back. We're just giving back, boys.
Yeah. Doing Lord's work.
It ain't those kids' fault.
So be on the lookout. Saturday Night Live. Woo! Arizona, Tennessee, big matchup in the desert in Tucson. I wonder if Day Vols going. He said he was like thinking about going. I don't know if he's out there. Maybe that's why he's not on the show tonight. Maybe he's headed to Arizona.
I believe he's going to Miami. I don't think.
What's in Miami?
The Orange Bowl.
Day's not going to the Orange Bowl. He's confirmed he's not going.
Well, he alluded to going on his Twitter page either today or yesterday.
Maybe he's changed his mind.
Well, he had his outfit laid out like it was the first day of 8th grade. Yeah, shirt, pants, some low cut Nikes, and said Orange Bowl fit ? So maybe he is, maybe he ain't.
Speaking of the Orange Bowl, got my ticket assignment today. We're in the corner upper deck, row 17. So not good, not terrible though. Somewhere in the middle. So Griff and I are heading down on that Thursday night, coming back on Saturday afternoon. We'll be back before the calendar turns to 2023, hopefully, unless we get stuck in traffic in Chattanooga, which is a high possibility. That place stinks.
I have a hard-hitting question for you.
Okay.
Are you going to stay under budget?
Oh, yeah. I'm staying under 400.
I'm going to need to see receipts.
Oh, I'm keeping receipts. I will prove to you all that I stay under $400. I can't get over. Guys, that's $80 a meal. That is $80 a meal. There's no way I'm sitting on average.
I was counting milk money. I was counting milk money in that too, though.
Yeah, it's food and beverage.
That's up for debate. That's not a meal.
I'm just saying, and
I don't count that in my personal budget when I eat food. So
I understand, but that's what I was saying. I'm thinking, I'm gonna spend. I didn't know how long we were going to go either, so I would say,
we're basically going to be there because our flight doesn't leave Fort Lauderdale till 5 o'clock Saturday, so we're basically going to be there 2 days.
Right. And so I was just thinking, y'all might go out for a nice steak dinner, drop $100 bill on dinner, then you might drop $100 in the stadium. Time you get 2 hot dogs and a French fry and four Cokes.
I'm a Capital One card
included.
I'm a Capital One card holder.
Yeah.
And I get 10% off food and beverage purchases in Hard Rock Stadium for the game.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
And merchandise. So maybe I'll bring y'all back an Orange Bowl shirt or something. Probably not. Budget's tight. Football news. Here at the tail end of the show, Cedric Tillman, Jalen Hyatt have opted out. I was a tad surprised about Hyatt, not totally. Tillman, that dude opted out about halfway through the season, I think, and I don't blame him. He's going to get drafted, and but Hyatt's gone, and Tillman's gone. Will that affect Tennessee any on the offensive side of the football?
I mean, yeah, it'll definitely affect them. I mean, it's your 2 top guys from this past year. Is it going to absolutely kill us? No. We're still going to have Brew, Ramel Keaton. I am personally excited to see us hashtag unleash the squirrel.
Yes.
That'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun. I would assume that Jacob Warren and Fant are both playing. I haven't heard anything different. I would assume
I'm not either.
So we get both of those guys. We have a run game. I think we'll be okay. Is there any news on Darnell Wright? That's probably the biggest one out of the names I just mentioned.
Yeah. All I've seen is he is committed to play in the Senior Bowl. I've not seen anything about him opting out for this game. I'll look it up while we're finishing up here, but I have not seen anything on him.
I'm just going to go ahead and assume he's going to play. I think we'll be fine. I mean, it obviously doesn't help missing Tillman and Hyatt, but it's like any other game this year. If we run the ball, we're going to have a very good chance of winning.
2 days ago, On3.com reported that he has accepted his invitation to the Senior Bowl. His status, though, for the Tennessee game with Clemson on December 30th in Miami is unclear at this point. So there's been no announcement as of 2 days ago.
Right. So we'll probably find that out this week or next.
Well, yeah, I think it hurts Tennessee a tad not having those two guys out there. They didn't have Tillman most of the season anyways. They had him at Pittsburgh, but Hyatt stepped in and filled that role really well. But not having him, that's going to be interesting. I know against Vandy they didn't need him, and they threw to a lot of other guys. I don't think he only had 2 catches that game, but I'm interested to see, like you said, Squirrel. You got Brew McCoy still out there, Ramel Keaton, the tight ends, Warren and Fant will still be out there. It's just interesting to see. I mean, Clemson's got their 2 top defenders have opted out of this game. So, can Milton not overthrow everybody by 50 yards and make the passes he needs to? Because these guys are probably going to be open, I would assume. I don't know. It's a lot of unknowns heading into this game. That's what we were talking about today. Like, I used to love bowl season. It was one of my favorite, that and the NCAA tournament, my favorite time of year. I don't like the bowls anymore. And it's because of these guys opting out, and I get it why they do, but it stinks, man. I used to get up on New Year's Day and the Cotton Bowl was on, and then you'd flip over to the Citrus Bowl and the Outback Bowl, and then those would end, and you'd flip over to the Rose Bowl, and then the Sugar Bowl was on. It's just not the same anymore. And I'm glad they're expanding the playoffs because that's going to get rid of a lot of this stuff. Because Tennessee would be in the playoffs, and these guys would not be opting out, I promise you.
Nope.
Well, you say that, but that wide receiver for Ohio State opted out to go.
Man, I mean,
he might have something going on anyway, like to not injure himself further.
Well, he's got a hamstring, so
yeah. That's the same thing with Tillman. Like, and Hyatt just saw what happened to Tillman, so it's fresh on his mind. It takes one little thing and you've tore an Achilles or an ACL.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, and I don't think it necessarily hurts their draft stock. It just prevents them from working out, and that's where a lot of these guys jump up the boards. Is when these guys see him work out and they're like, holy cow, that guy can fly, or look at this guy. It's I don't know. I get it. It sucks. Because these bowl games, I mean, we're spending a ton of money to go down there, and Tennessee's two of their best players aren't playing. You'd say 3 of their best players aren't playing, but one's hurt. I mean, I think Hooker would have played in this game if he was able to, but yeah, it stinks. Did you see the recruit Tennessee got today? Big pickup.
Yes.
Arian Carter, 4-star linebacker.
Chose us over Alabama and Ohio State.
Yes, sir. Out of Smyrna, Tennessee. So glad to see that we're putting a fence up around the state a little bit more than we have in the past. That's been a big gripe I've had with Tennessee over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, is they let a lot of the talent in state go everywhere else. Like we got a lot of guys, especially in Middle Tennessee now, we need to hold on to. And they've done that so far with this class. And this is turning out to be a pretty good recruiting class, even though SEC Picks says otherwise.
Good God. I'm not even going to waste oxygen on him.
I just always bring it up because he has been tweeting up a storm tonight about how bad Tennessee's pushing these players out to bring these guys in and questioning everything he does. What a complete and utter moron. He doesn't listen to. I'm sure he doesn't listen to this. So
good. Speaking of big dummies on the Twitter machine, did you see Wes Rucker's tweet after Michael Leach died?
I did see that one. Was it about him? I'm sure it had something to do with Wes himself.
He made it about Wes.
He always does. Wes with a dollar sign.
I'm not looking at it. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the general gist of it. the first sentence or how it went was he said, "I always wanted to work for a school that Mike Leach coached at so I could cover him." So first of all, I already made it about himself. And he said, however, a place like this with the schmoozing with boosters and dealing with media at a high profile university just wasn't best for him. So it's good that he was where he was, or some like ridiculous ass, stupid ass tweet. And everybody grilled him for it.
So yeah, I'm trying to look it up. I'll have to look into that. I have not. That does not surprise me that he made it. Everything's about him.
Anytime you start a tweet about somebody's death with 3 eyes in the first sentence, it can't be good.
This is the same guy who couldn't stand up for the national anthem and cited health issues, but then you see him standing up for other things. So what a hypocrite. I'm not a West fan. He's a Cubs fan too. Sad. Speaking of the Cubs, we don't have a lot of time left. We're running out of time here on our free Zoom session, but the Cubs, they're going to spend all kinds of money this offseason. They've done absolutely nothing. They signed Corey Bellinger to a 1-year deal, $18 million. I'm hoping that they sign Dansby Swanson, but I'm not confident that they will. I think he'll go to L.A. or St. Louis. I don't know that the Braves are even going to sign him, which I think might be a mistake, but guy plays every day. And the only question I have about Dansby Swanson is, can he produce on a team that's not as good as Atlanta? Because he's got a lot of good pieces around him. If he goes to Chicago, it's going to be a step down right now because they're rebuilding. So how will that affect his game? He's going to play every day and he's going to be good defensively, but offensively is the question mark to me. But yeah, Cubs they're in the second or third biggest city in the country, and they play like they're in Kansas City or spin like they're in Kansas City or Oakland. It's pathetic. All right. We got a minute and a half here. Closing thoughts. Harbin.
I'm going to try to do this as quick as I can in honor of
That's
Mike
what she
Leach.
said.
I'm going to read one of my favorite quotes from Mike Leach, or at least part of it. When he was in the Pac-12 at Washington State, he was comparing mascot battle. It goes, a cougar obviously kills a duck and a beaver. A cougar against a husky, that's pretty well much a massacre. A cardinal or whatever, I don't exactly know what a cougar would either climb it, or I wouldn't want to think of what else he'd do on it. Now golden bears could be kind of tough. I think you'd want to be a little fast and loose with them. You don't want to get caught by a bear. The ute, you got to dodge some arrowheads, but I still like the cougar. Buffalo, I think the buffalo would be pretty tough to beat. Wildcat, cougars are bigger than wildcats. Sun Devils, that's mythical anyway. Trojans, they might as well be as well. The golden bear, bruin, and buffalo, I think those are the tough ones. I'm going to cut it off right there because we're running out of time. But RIP to a legend, creator of the air raid, and just funny ass guy, man.
Yeah, it stinks that he passed away, but yeah, he was great for college football, that's for sure. Big Montana, what you got?
Go Vols, beat Arizona. I really don't have an opinion on Mike Leach. I hate the guy left this world at an early age. He was a great football coach, so it seemed. He has a pretty cool coaching tree. But I'm not going to virtue signal for a guy that I don't know. I think a lot of people on Twitter and other places just want to have a popular thing to say at the time, and act like they went fishing with the guy last week. Especially all the girls on there. Oh no, it's awful. We're going to miss him. They're not going to think about this guy until they see a sticker on a helmet in 3 weeks at a football bowl game. That might be a little callous of me, but I just hate that he died at the age of 61. But it just gives everybody another example where when it's your time to check out of here, man, the Lord's going to take you. So know where you're going before you go.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a big Leach fan. A lot of people wanted him to be coach here. I was not on board with that. I don't think he was a good fit here. But I did like his interviews. I mean, he had some interesting.
They were funny, but here's my argument. After you get beat by Florida 35-17, well, guys, if we had a different flavor Gatorade and the Cougar was out there running across the field and he saw an eagle, we might have had a chance. I mean, that's the shit he would say, and it just drove me insane.
He was an oddball, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but
I do think it's awesome that their bowl game's in Tampa and the pirate ship's going to be there. So it's just like the story was written for the guy. Yeah. So rest in peace, brother.
And he went out a winner too. He won the Egg Bowl in his last game.
I was going to say that's pretty cool for your last game to be against your biggest rival, and you beat them, and you beat Lane Kiffin. So Lane can always hang on to that. He was the last one to lose to Mike Leach.
My closing thought is Tony Vitello was on MLB Network Hot Stove the other morning. He had this awesome Tennessee hat on. I'll put a picture of the logo. I don't have a picture of the hat. I don't know where he got the hat. I don't know if he had it custom made or what, but it was so awesome. It was the old muscular Smokey that walks logo. I'll put it on the video, but he had that on his hat. So awesome. Like, I need it. I want it. Vol Shop, do your thing if you're listening.
Was it the white Smokey?
Yeah. And again, if you're watching this, I probably already put it up, but I'm trying to find it here on my phone so you can see it before we get off of here. You've once you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's not that new one, where Smokey's growling, that dumb looking one. Of course it won't pop up. Anyways, it's the trucker hat. He was on Hot Stove the other morning and gave a lot of good they asked him about Tennessee baseball. Obviously he said best fan base in America, all that good stuff, but really highlighted what Tennessee's put into pro baseball the last few years under his regime, or his tutelage, you might say. Of course, I cannot find this logo anywhere. It's like it doesn't exist. I will find it and put it on this, put it on the video version. I won't post it till I find it. It's crazy. I cannot find this. You all have seen it. I promise you've seen it.
Is it the white Smokey with the orange sweater?
Yes, and he's kind of walking.
I
know exactly what you're talking about.
There?
Yes, that one. Yes.
I have that on a hat, Nease.
Oh, do you? Well, Tony Vitello has one on in this interview, and I tweeted that I needed it. So it was an awesome looking hat.
What color was the hat?
Huh?
What color was the hat?
The top was orange. I think an orange bill. I'm trying to find it here.
The one I have is white and gray.
Oh gosh. Oh, by the way, Jordan Bowden was at the Tennessee game the other day.
He made the long trek over from Long Island.
All right, here it is. I found it. If you can see it on the screen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I don't know what kind it is. I never could see it. I don't know. But yeah. I'm wearing the Johnny Majors hat they recreated. Vol Shop did last year. I don't wear this a whole lot, but I love this hat. I don't know what it's so old school. I just love it. I don't know. I didn't wear it any this year. I'm disappointed in myself. Sad
and unfair.
I like Harbin's hat too. That is awesome.
Shout out Vol Shop.
Vol Shop doesn't miss, man. They I don't like everything they do, but they make some good stuff. All right, that's this week's show. Appreciate everybody listening. Again, not to toot my own horn like Wes Rucker, but I was on the Hoops Southbound podcast this week. They talk a lot of college basketball, but mainly SEC. I think they're Arkansas fans, from what I can gather. But good little show over there. Check them out. And I think my interview comes on at like the 44, 45-minute mark. We talked about Tennessee, Maryland, Tennessee, Arizona coming up. It's the first time I've ever been asked to be on a podcast other than mine. So But that was cool. Check those guys out. But you can hear us anywhere you get podcasts. Check us out on YouTube. You can put us on your TV and watch us. It was over at the Parkers last Saturday night for a Christmas party, and Dustin had us in his favorites or whatever it was, but we were trying to get him to pop it up on the TV to watch us, but there was too much noise going on. But he said we're one of his top 2 favorite podcasts. I think it did that rap thing or whatever on Spotify, and Section YY8 came up. So shout out Parker. But yeah, you can watch us on YouTube, listen to us anywhere you get podcasts, follow us on Twitter at Section YY8. We're on Facebook, all that good stuff. So for Big Montana and for Harb, we're going to get out of here. Tennessee, Arizona this weekend. Make sure you're watching, and appreciate you listening to the Section YY8 podcast. We'll catch you next week.